Hi, my name is Sophia Gregg, and I'm here with my family. And today I'm going to be discussing the issues of homelessness within cities. On average, from 2007 to 2020, 580,000 people per year experienced homelessness. This heartbreaking truth of cities nationwide being plagued with this pandemic can be caused by a variety of many different reasons, including mental illness, addiction, unemployment, domestic violence, and so much more. Unfortunately, anyone can find themselves in the situation of homelessness. It could be you as an individual, a loved one, or someone you just may know. Although many people find themselves in these situations, there are also countless resources for people to lean back on, and many people who are devoted to helping those in need. To begin, it's important to understand why people may fall into situations of homelessness. The first and most common reason we may see is the illness of addiction. Although there could be many different reasons why people may turn to drugs and alcohols and substance abuse, once you find yourself in a cycle, once an addiction is in place, it can be very hard to break that cycle. A sad side effect that can come from being an addict is the breaking of relationships it may have on your friends and family, as well as how it can isolate an addict from the support and treatment that they may need. The changes in behavior and attitude can push family and friends away, and if they find themselves in a situation where they may need help and somewhere to stay, a lot of times family and friends turn them down and they find themselves in situations of homelessness. In addition to addiction breaking off important relationships, it can also take a huge financial toll on addicts. The website for American Addiction Centers explains just how costly addiction can be. They use the example of how a $5 six-pack of beer every day can in turn lead to $150 a month, and then $1,000 every 6 months. And if you take into consideration the cost of expensive alcohol or even hard drugs, this number can easily exceed $10,000 per year just to fund an addiction. In addition to this, substance abuse can also result in lack of motivation and productivity. So if someone is not motivated or willing to work and spending all of their savings on their substance of choice, they can easily find themselves in a hole of poverty and end up in homelessness. However, not all situations of homelessness are a choice of the victim. A leading cause of homelessness, especially for women, is actually domestic violence. Between 22 and 57% of homeless women have reported that they've experienced immediate homelessness due to domestic violence relationships and situations. In addition to this, 90% of homeless women have also said that they have experienced physical or sexual abuse at some point in their lives. Sadly, it's also very common in these situations for women to have little or no access to support or the help that they may need. In fact, in 2005, Congress found that nearly 150 documented cases of domestic violence victims being evicted due to their domestic violence tenants evicting domestic violence victims due to their situations. In that same year, it found that nearly 100 people also were denied housing entirely for the same reason of their status as a domestic violence victim. In addition to this, abusers can also take advantage of economic stability of their victims. A lot of times, the physical, emotional, and psychological toll that violence may take on a victim can make it hard for them to maintain employment. And without the help that they may need, it can be very hard for them to support themselves. So, while it's sadly found that many people find themselves in situations of homelessness, there are also just as many resources for people to turn to when they need help. In the documentary Seattle is Dying by Como News, they described how the city is being overrun with drugs, alcohol, and homelessness. In addition to the statistics, interviews, and facts that they provide in the documentary, they also explain what other states are doing in order to address this problem. They use the example of how the Rhode Island Department of Corrections, as well as the Kodak Behavioral Healthcare Center in Rhode Island, have developed the MAT system. Otherwise known as the Medication Addiction Treatment System, they provide opiate blockers that can soothe the cravings that an addict may have. They require patients to take these daily. Some examples would be methadone, Suboxone, and Vivitrol. These are all FDA approved and have been proven to be successful in helping people get off heroin and other hard drugs. In addition to having patients take these daily, they also provide group meetings, recovery therapy, and counselors to help them move forward as well. Many patients who have receive this treatment not only will take these medications for the rest of their lives most likely, but they also have reported that this experience in the MAT system has definitely saved their lives. In addition to addiction treatment, there are also a lot of resources for domestic violence victims as well. Many shelters, helplines, and people who are advocating for awareness for these victims can help support them. But the most important thing that these victims need is just a safe place to stay. Shelters also may provide some court advocacy for them as well. In conclusion, it can be very devastating to hear the facts of how homelessness is taking over our cities and our country and even the world. But it is important to understand why people may fall into situations of homelessness in order to give them the resources they need, help them, and hopefully make homelessness less common. Everyone is sit here. And that's my speech.